Hey, what's up, hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Kayla, and today I'm going to attempt to make my very first circle skirt. Hey guys, hello, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. I'm glad to have you here, whether you're old or new. So today I want to attempt to make a circle skirt. This is something I've been wanting to try for a while, but I've just been overwhelmed with, like, in a good way, with a lot of other projects. But today I decided I was going to take the day to just do something for myself. And so a few months back I thrifted the most beautiful classic Christmas tartan, and it was just like a massive flannel sheet. So I thought this would be perfect to make a beautiful Christmas skirt. That's what we're gonna attempt to do today. I'm very nervous about adding the waistband because that is sort of my weak spot, adding waistbands to things. But I think I'll have no issue cutting out the skirt. I also don't think I'll have a problem adding the zipper. I've added zippers to plenty of things at this point, so I don't think that'll be an issue. But what I'm most nervous about is adding a zipper and then adding the waistband. I think you do it in that order. So I'm going to consult the internet for some tips and tricks on the best ways to do this. But yeah, I think this should turn out okay. I am referencing Rachel Maskey's video in this video. She is, first of all, one of my favorite YouTubers ever. She makes some incredibly cool stuff, whether it be like vintage inspired pieces or cosplay pieces. They're just incredible. Basically, a few months ago, or maybe it was last year, I think it was last year, she made a recreation or sort of a vintage inspired version of Sally's dress from The Nightmare Before Christmas. And in that she used a circle skirt formula. So I will be referencing that because she does kind of do like a step-by-step of how she did it. So now without further ado, let's I guess talk about how we're doing this. Okay, so let's talk about what we need to do this project. First and foremost, you're gonna need some fabric. So I'm using, I think probably, there wasn't a tag on it, but if I were to guess, I would say this is probably a queen size sheet. So it is just a queen size flannel sheet. It's in like a really lovely tartan pattern, which I'll show you guys in a moment. You're also going to need a scissor, either tailor's chalk or a fabric marker. You're going to need a measuring tape. And then I'm going to be using a zipper to help me get it on, because once you put the waistband on, you're going to need something to help you get it on. So I'm going to be using a zipper, and I'm going to be using a hook and eye clasp or closure. And then I am also going to be using interfacing on the waistband. Now, I don't know if that's like a necessary step. However, I personally really like how structured interfacing makes the waistband look. And I've used it in several projects at this point to add some structure. So I think that is what I want to do here. And then lastly, you're just going to need, of course, some sort of matching thread and either a needle to hand sew or a sewing machine. Okie doke, so this is the plan. I have my tailor's measuring tape here. So what I need to do is basically measure my waist and then add 2 inches to that. Okay, so I guess that's what we gotta do first, is just measure my waist. I don't know how many inches my waist actually is because I don't typically measure it, but apparently I'm a good guesser. So my waist is about 34 inches, so we're gonna do 36, I guess. So 36 inches, then divided by 6.28, which is 2 times pi. So 36 divided by 6.28. Now that number that we'll get will be our waist radius. And then for the desired length, you just need to like measure how long you want it. And from there, you'll do your desired length plus the waist radius, which will give you your length radius, or your length number. Yeah, I guess it's your length radius. I think that's right. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Honestly, I'm probably not explaining this well, so you should definitely go and watch Rachel's video. It is much easier to understand. So yeah, now I'm just going to draw everything out on the skirt, I guess. Okay, so I really want to stress that this is not meant to be a tutorial. This is really just me sort of playing around and just documenting my journey of learning how to sew. So basically what I'm doing here, though, I did want to explain it to you so you understood what was happening, is I anchored the measuring tape down on the ground, which this turned out to be such a headache because I ended up having to retrace this 3 times because I didn't realize that the pin kept coming out of the ground. Anyway, basically I'm just using it like a compass and marking wherever it has like the number that is my waist radius all the way around from the point that it is pinned in. So, you know, if you've ever used a compass in math class before, then you might understand this method. But then I'm just doing the same thing for the length of the skirt. Make sure you don't move that pin because otherwise everything will be off-centered and it won't be a perfect circle. Okay, I'm boiling, so I took off my sweatshirt, but here's the sitch. I traced it out in the tailor's chalk. And then I realized I really couldn't see it. So I just took a regular pen, and I really didn't want to have to do that because I don't want it to leave marks on the fabric, but I just went ahead and did it. I'm gonna have to hem everything anyway, and again, I'm putting on a waistline, so you shouldn't be able to see the tracing marks at the end. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting experience trying to hem some of this because, yeah, and also it's going to be an interesting experience trying to get enough fabric to make a waistband, but we're going to make it work. Yeah, this is going to be an adventure. So, yeah, but now I have my fabric scissors and we're going to cut this baby out and hope and pray that we can figure out how to add a waistband later on. Okay, moment of truth. See if we did this right. I mean, it looks quite large, but I guess it's supposed to be gathered a little bit, which I will be doing the gathers by hand. It is quite large. I don't know if you need to add the 2 inches, can I be honest? I think there's enough extra space, but this is gonna look so pretty if I can do it right. Oh, okay. The waistband situation is what's stressing me out now because I don't know if I have enough fabric to do a like proper one, but I think what I'll end up doing is sewing 2 pieces together, and there'll be like a seam here, which means I'll probably do a side zipper. I was planning on doing a back zipper, but I think I'll end up doing a side zipper. And I was thinking about adding pockets, but now I'm not sure I have enough fabric, so, but this is hopefully gonna be very pretty. Oh my gosh, I hope this turns out well. Very much like it though. Okay, so what I'm doing here is sewing on 2 lines of basting stitches, which is basically the largest stitch size on a sewing machine. This ended up being a total waste of time because I ended up going in and pleating the skirt instead of doing gathers because honestly, I don't like how gathers look. I think I've just decided. This is the 2nd or 3rd time I've tried doing the basting stitch gathering thing. I just don't like it. So I ended up going in and hand pleating the skirt eventually, which we'll get to. But yeah, that was essentially what I was doing here. You could skip this step if you plan on doing this and just pleat it. It looks so much better. Okay, so originally I was thinking I was going to hand sew the zipper on, but I've decided I think I'm going to try and use the machine. Also, I nicked the skirt when I was trying to cut open a part for the zipper, so I had to mend it, and I'm freaking annoyed. Anyway, I'm going to see about inserting the zipper now. Wish me luck. This is a journey. Okay, so I definitely did not explain this. I guess I didn't record myself saying this, but the zipper, I sewed it on very easily. There were no issues getting that on. And then after I sewed the zipper on, I went ahead and ironed on some of the fusible interfacing onto the waistband, which I did end up sewing 2 pieces together, and I was able to pattern match, so you cannot even tell. But I was able to sew 2 pieces of fabric that I had left over together to create the waistband. And then, like I said, I ironed on some fusible interfacing and then just ironed it, folded it in half, ironed it flat, and then brought it into my room, pinned it right sides facing together on the outside, if that makes sense, of the skirt, and then chucked it into the sewing machine. Okay, so I have now ironed on the interfacing onto the waistband and then pinned it to the outside of the skirt, right sides together. And now I'm gonna sew it together. Hopefully I pleated this well enough. We're gonna see. I hope it doesn't look jankety. That is my biggest fear, that it's gonna look a little all over the place. But we'll figure it out as we go along and just continuously, I'll just be continuously readjusting everything to make sure that everything lines up. Okay, so it's much later in the day, but the skirt is almost done. So after I sewed the waistband on 3 times, I sewed it on twice and didn't like how the pleats were sectioned, and then seam ripped it off twice and then re-sewed it on. And eventually I liked it. I did, like I think I mentioned, accidentally nick a hole in the side of the skirt, but luckily it ended up falling on a pleat, so you can't really see it. And it's also on the side of the skirt because I decided to make the zipper a side zipper and not add pockets. But then I sewed on the inside of the waistband by hand so that you couldn't see a top stitch on the outside. So this is what the waistband looks like on the outside. Now the inside's not all that pretty, but it's very firmly down, and that is all that matters. It is a very structured piece, and also all the raw hems are tucked inside, so there's not going to be any fraying, which is really good. So yeah, I'm very, very excited. Now the last thing I have to do is this part right here. I just added quite a bit of excess to this because I wanted to just make sure that I had plenty of room. So basically my mom went ahead and made a mark on here for me while I was wearing it so that I can insert the hook and eye closures so that we can cover this up. And then I just need to do a hem to the bottom and it is officially done. And I am stoked. Okay guys, so this is the conclusion of the video. In a second I'm going to show you guys some clips of the skirt all done in its full glory. So let's talk about the things that I am happy with, the things that I would have changed, which, dare I say, there's not a lot I would change. So, okay, let's start with what I'm happy with. First of all, the length is literally perfect. I'm pretty happy with how the pleating turned out. And then I was really, really happy with my decision to go in and hand sew the inside of the waistband instead of there being a visible top stitch on the outside of the skirt. So I was definitely really happy with that. It's not like the neatest looking on the inside, which of course that only matters to me because nobody else is going to see it and it's not like I'm selling them. But if I were to do it again, I'd probably do the sewing with white thread so that it did look more professional instead of the red thread that I was using. But overall, I'm really, really, really pleased with how this turned out. I would probably take it in about an inch. It is 34 inches around, but I definitely could have brought it in at least 1 inch. But you know, it's fine because then I can tuck in chunkier sweaters than this one that I'm wearing. And you know, it says it's not falling off. So it fits pretty freaking well, especially for my first time ever making a circle skirt. I've decided I think I'm just going to try to make all of my skirts from here on out because I've never loved a skirt more than this one. And I think, yeah, I'm going to try to thrift a ton more like flannel materials in different patterns. We actually were just cleaning out our linen closet and had a ton of flannel sheets in there, so I can make skirts out of that. But I would love to make a ton more circle skirts. This is definitely by far my new favorite style of skirt. This is the first circle skirt I've ever owned. I would like to in the future try a half circle skirt, which basically just means the skirt isn't as full. But by and large, I'm really, really happy with the skirt. Really, really happy with how it turned out, especially for being my first time making a circle skirt. But yeah, I mean, it's just so pretty and it's such a lovely vintage silhouette, which of course vintage fashion has been something I've been getting much more interested in lately. Okay, so before I show you guys the close-ups of the skirt, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. It's totally free. I make new fashion related content every single week. Normally it's not sewing content, though from time to time I've been throwing that in. Normally it's styling, thrifting, and styling thrifted clothes. So if that's something that you're interested in, please do. Hit the subscribe button and join the fam. Follow me on social media if you are not already. And now, let's move on to the close-up clips. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I had so much fun making this skirt and do plan on making many more in the future. Yeah, I definitely didn't want this to be a tutorial. It's more just me documenting the process of me learning and just sort of having fun and sharing with you guys some fun projects that I'm up to that are, you know, fashion related. So I hope you did enjoy. If you want a more in-depth tutorial, I think now that I've done it, you know, I should probably do it a couple more times, and then I can definitely do a tutorial if you guys want to see a tutorial on how to do a circle skirt. I feel pretty confident that I'd be able to make a good tutorial for that. But I had so much fun making this skirt. I wore it all day yesterday, and yeah, I 10 out of 10 recommend it. Even if you are a novice sewer like myself, I think that this is a very simple project. I did it in one day, and I think that, you know, it's definitely a good project for beginners. So 10 out of 10 recommend trying it out. Also, don't forget again to check out Rachel's video. It is down below. Anyway, don't forget it costs absolutely nothing to be kind, so be kind to yourself and others, and I'll see you next week.